Welcome to the podcast. Another episode 15, I believe. I can't keep count, but episode 15 of Reoccurring Thoughts. I'm your host, Keidron Koger, and I'm back with another NBA podcast here with my good buddy, Mr. Elson. Mr. Elson, say hello.
Hello. So on the last podcast that you had me on, I projected Bol to go 10th overall, and he went 44th. So I'm surprised you had me back on, but again, I'm humbled and excited.
Well, I would obviously have you back on because your knowledge was really outstanding in the last one, and you made me look like a fool, but it was awesome. It was a fun episode, and of course, I wanted to bring you back on. So today we're going to do a recap of what happened last Thursday in the NBA draft, and then we're going to go through a little preview of free agency as far as what we expect to happen. So I'm looking forward to this one, and so as far as what we're going to talk about, so I'm going to let my host start it off with the first question. So besides the top three, Mr. Elson, what was the best pick in your mind, in your opinion?
Well, I think the best pick, I had him projected to go 4th overall, but Cam Reddish, he fell to 10th, and he fell to the Atlanta Hawks.
Uh-huh.
And, they've already done their press conference with him, introductory press conference, and they seem real excited, obviously, and I am too. They got DeAndre Hunter as well, but to get Cam Reddish at 10th, I think is an incredible value pick. He's, I detailed what I thought of him in the last pod, so I won't repeat myself, but he's a great player. 10th overall, I think it was a steal. So what about you?
I thought I want to agree with that, but I want to give a different perspective because I do agree that Cam Reddish was one of the best picks of the draft. But I do want to say that going back and looking, I thought DeAndre Hunter, if I remember correctly, it was which team moved up? Correct me here, Elson. I'm drawing a blank.
The Hawks.
The Hawks, yeah. They traded up to get him, and I thought that was a smart move by them because they're pairing Trae Young and John Collins and all those young guys with him, along with Kevin Huerter, the two guard that's modeling his game after Dwayne Wade. I think that was a good pick for them. They traded up to get him. Last year they traded up to get Trae Young, and I think they're building a young core that can compete for years, or will be able to compete for years. So I thought that was one of my best pick, along with the Cam Reddish pick as well. So
totally.
So the next question we have here is the worst pick, and so I guess I'll start this one. The worst pick in my mind, I thought, and although I'm an Auburn guy, I love Auburn, but I thought Chumo was a little premature by the Magic. Although I think he may end up being a steal, I do think it was a little premature, simply because he tore his ACL and he has only a small sample size of what he can do. Although he was good, he just wasn't consistent. So until the NCAA tournament, nobody really had heard of him, in my opinion, as far as news outlets talking about him and different stuff like that. But as Auburn people know, we knew how good he was. We knew that he was a good player. But when he tore his ACL, many people started to figure out who he was. So I think that was one of the worst picks in my mind, simply because he did end up getting hurt, and you don't know what you're going to get from him when he comes back from injury. Because basketball is a lot of jumping, right? Am I wrong about that, Marshall?
No, that's exactly right.
It's all about your knees, man. And when you tear an ACL, you're gonna be scared to play on it, just like in football. I got a guy that's hurt right now, so I mean, knees are very important, especially when you're jumping like that. So, who was your worst pick?
Well, my worst pick involves last year because I'm not sure which one. But either Colin Sexton last year or Darius Garland this year was a bad pick, because I don't think that they can play together super well. If Darius Garland comes out and he's a great player, then obviously that was a good pick, but then it's going to hurt Colin Sexton a little bit. So then that will turn out to be a bad pick. So I didn't like the pairing. I don't know their plan with those two. But everyone's saying C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard, but that took years to develop, and those are like some really talented, skilled players.
Right.
And it takes that to make a combination like that work. And I'm not sure they can. So that one, I'm not sure. And then the Wizards taking, I think it's Ryu Hamachi-Mora or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think they went with a safe pick. But a lot of draft analysis websites had Brandon Clark ranked ahead of Ryu. And so I don't even know if he was the best player on Gonzaga, and they took him 9th overall.
Right.
With Cam Reddish still on the board, you had some other talented players, Romeo Langford, some other great players on the board. So that one was a little questionable to me. So, yeah, those two stood out.
Okay, gotcha. Is it because with Garland and Sexton, is it because they're both ball dominant?
They're both ball dominant. That sums it up for sure. And neither of them are super tall, so I don't know. I think they're pretty similar, ball dominant, small guards who like to shoot a lot. So there you go.
Gotcha. Well, that's a good take. I like that. Your biggest surprise?
Biggest surprise. My biggest surprise was the Oklahoma City Thunder. Darius Bazley.
Yeah.
They took him, I think, like 17th overall or somewhere around there. And he didn't play in the NCAA. He actually, I think, went overseas or somewhere to play last year. And he was a highly ranked high school player, and it could turn out to be a good pick. I just felt surprised when they said his name. So that's my pick for that. What about you?
I think my biggest surprise would have to be Bol dropping. I mean, first of all, that was probably the biggest surprise of the draft because I thought he was one of the top 2 centers in the draft.
Me too.
And to have Jackson Hayes be the first center off the board, and although I get it, the Pelicans may want a athletic front court, I think Bol is really athletic to be able to dribble. I mean, he can handle the ball out of this world. I mean, he's first of all, he's 7'6". He's better than his dad was. I mean, I don't know how you pass up on that and make him go in the second round. The 45th pick, I believe. Am I wrong on that? But
I think it was 44th. But the good thing about this this whole thing is that, we're not – Bol's still to be determined. He could still be a great player. He gets to determine that, not where he was picked.
Right. And that's true. But that was a huge surprise to me, seeing him drop like that. It was wild to see that. But I
agree.
I think the Nuggets did get a good pick in him. And Michael Porter Jr., of course, he's coming back from injury, and hopefully he'll play this season. But I think with Gary Harris and Jamal Murray and Nikola Vucevic, I think that's a young core that is going to be really good for a while. So they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the West for a long time.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
I guess my next question would be, let's see, the team with the best night. I guess if I was to answer this question, I'd say the Hawks. And that's the easy answer. Honestly, that's a real easy answer because the Hawks, first of all, they traded up to get DeAndre Hunter, which was a great value pick at number 4. Then they kept their number 10 pick and got Cam Reddish. I mean, that was great value for what they're getting out of those guys. Cam Reddish is going to be a potentially great player. Although he didn't have that remarkable season in college that many was expecting. But you got to think, they did have 3 ball-dominant guys on one team. So with R.J. Barrett and Zion, I mean, he's going to be fine. And I think DeAndre Hunter showed what he can do at Virginia. I mean, he won a national championship. So without Hunter, I don't think they would have made it that far. The year before, without Hunter, they got bounced in the first round. So Hunter was a great pick at number 4. And, of course, having Cam Reddish get picked up at number 10 was a great, great value pick. So I thought the Hawks won tonight easily.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think the analogy to use with them is a puzzle. Kind of the opposite theory of what the Cavs did with those 2 similar guards. I feel like the Hawks are selecting players to fit a puzzle. Like they're all different from each other, but they could fit perfectly.
Right.
DeAndre Hunter is a defensive stopper and a really solid, consistent player. Cam Reddish is inconsistent, but when he's really on, it's incredible.
Right.
And so that's pretty opposite from DeAndre Hunter. And then Trae Young is small compared to those 2, but he can shoot from really far out, and then he can handle the ball extremely well. So again, you have all these different puzzle pieces, and then they fit well. And I like the Hawks' future. I think they had a great night. So I'll go with them.
Good.
As well.
Well, I guess we agree on that one. So let me ask you a question. How do you think that Horford and Reddish are going to mesh together with both of those guys being primarily scorers at the 2 guard?
Well, I think, like I was just saying with the puzzle, Herder is a unique piece as well. He really has a good ability to catch and shoot off of screens. He can shoot off the dribble, and he's a consistent 3-point shooter. I think Cam Reddish is more of a, at his peak, and I mentioned in the last podcast, he's got more Tracy McGrady potential, so he could drive and kick to Herter. So I don't think that they're necessarily very similar.
Yeah.
I think they're, somewhat similar in the fact that they can shoot threes, but they're still a unique player that can mesh well.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Good. So the next question we have is player who landed in the best situation from the draft. Who do you think landed in the best possible situation?
That's a good question. I haven't thought about this one. Do you have the answer?
I don't have the true answer, but I can say my answer, I guess. I honestly believe that the player that landed in the best situation was more than likely going to be R.J. Barrett.
Totally.
And the reason I say that is because the spotlight's not too big for him. I mean, he can play with the best of them. He's shown that he has confidence. He's got some poise about him, and New York is a great spot for him. I think they've got a great young core around him in the Knicks with Mitchell Robinson. If they bring back DeAndre Jordan or whoever they re-sign or whoever they sign, they'll have a great mix around. Kevin Knox, who hopefully, if he can stay healthy, can have a breakout year. Ntilikina, what's going to happen with him? Dennis Smith Jr., what's going to happen with him? All these young guys. Alonzo Trier, all these young guys that they have, that's a talented core in my opinion. Not just because I'm a Knicks fan, but I do think that's a talented core. I think if they sign some guys like they say they are, then it's going to be a good team to me. I think they'll make the playoffs if we're lucky. So that's my player that landed in the best situation, simply because that spotlight's not too big for him. And because he embraces that. He embraces the mantra of New York, that tough style, that confident, that cocky type atmosphere. So I think that's who I think landed in the best situation.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And when you said that RJ's personality kind of fits New York, I think Kobe White really fits Chicago well.
Gotcha.
A really tough-minded kid, tough player, plays through contact. I think he landed in a great situation because you got Zach LaVine there. You can throw alley-oops too. You can pass it to the wing for a three. And you got Markin in there who doesn't have to have the ball to score. So Kobe can really push the ball up the floor, and he has options to kick it to, options to throw it to down low. And he has the freedom to shoot a lot. He's coming into a situation where he's the starting point guard right away. I think he landed in a great situation, and who wouldn't want to be a Chicago Bull? So I'll go with Kobe White.
Right, and that's also a good landing spot because he doesn't have the pressure of having to do everything.
Right.
And that was a heck of a pick by the Bulls. I think they surpassed. No, Garland went before him, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He did.
2 picks before him.
So that was both shocking to both of us because we thought Kobe White would go first before Garland. But overall, I thought that was also a great pick, landing spot for Kobe White, simply because you got Zach LaVine, one of the best young scorers in the league. Markkanen, who's becoming something of his own. So I really like that core as well. So that's a good one right there. I didn't even think about that, but that's a good one. The next question we've got here is any regrets from your mock draft?
I feel good about the mock draft. I selected 7 players, and then you selected 7 players. 6 out of 7 of mine went in the top 17, I think. So I feel good about it. Except for Bol, he really fell, and we've talked about it already, during this conversation. But I think it's to be determined if that was a bad pick yet.
Right.
Obviously, I'm nervous. It seems like a bad pick. It seems like he might not get that much playing time and whatnot. But then I looked at the highlight tape again, and I see the talent, and I'm still holding out hope. But, yeah, I would say that's my biggest regret is picking him so high, although I still believe in him. What about you?
I think I agree with that, actually. That I understand how that can be a regret simply because he fell so far. Had he not fell, that probably wouldn't have been a regret, correct?
Right, correct.
Okay. So I think my biggest regret would probably having projected Kevin Porter so high. I think he fell to the 30th pick. Originally, when I was thinking about it, I was going to have P.J. Washington go in the lottery, but I said Kevin Porter looks like a better prospect to me. But obviously, he didn't, until the Cavs picked him up at 30. So that was probably the biggest regret I had as far as projecting him so early. So,
well, for the record, I think Kevin Porter is a better prospect than P.J. Washington. I just think the Hornets always try to select the sure thing. And especially after missing with Malik Monk, I think they probably just wanted a sure thing and didn't want to take another
project.
Another guy who likes to shoot a lot in Kevin Porter. They probably just were going with the sure thing of Washington, especially if Kemba leaves. They want to have something that's really steady and consistent.
And the sad thing with that is all these players that have gone to the great Michael Jordan, or the quote-unquote, to some people, GOAT, Michael Jordan's Charlotte Hornets, his team can't develop players. I mean, you got to think about it. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist was the second pick in the same draft, I believe, as Anthony Davis. He was the second pick. Frank Kaminsky, a great Wisconsin basketball player, led them to a national title, went to the Hornets. Didn't pan out. Cody Zeller out of Indiana didn't pan out. All these good players are not panning out in Charlotte, and there's a reason for that.
Marvin Williams, I think, went number 2 overall.
Right, right. So all these great.
Oh wait, no, I think he might have been drafted by the Hawks.
Yeah, he was.
Never mind.
Oh, my bad. He was drafted by the Hawks. That was way back, Elson. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm getting too far back. Sorry. Reel me back in.
It's all good. It's all good. But Marvin Williams was the Hawks, and he failed as a project. He was really good out of college too. I think he was drafted out of high school, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But
which player?
Marvin Williams.
No, he played 1 year at North Carolina, and he was the sixth man.
Gotcha.
Which was odd because it was a bench player that got selected second overall. So it was probably just a miss by the scouts from the beginning. Yeah,
and scouts aren't perfect. They mess up all the time. It's kind of like predicting the weather. You have a 50-50 shot at getting it right. Probably less than that. Probably 20%, I'd say.
Right.
But
right.
But overall, I think the Hornets struggle with developing players. So I hope P.J. Washington breaks that streak of that. Of course, Malik Monk has plenty of time to develop himself. Also, Kidd-Gilchrist is mainly a defensive guy now. Kaminsky, I don't know much about him, where he is anymore. I don't know if he's even still with the Hornets. But Zeller, I think he's still with the Hornets. But overall, if they get somebody that can develop these players, they're going to be fine. But they don't. And if Kemba leaves, they're going to be in deep trouble because Dwight Howard, he's dealing with his issues, his backside issues, whatever that is. Being afraid to get touched or whatever that may be. That's not my
I'm not sure about that situation.
But it's a little fishy. But it sounds scary to me. But overall, he's dealing with his stuff, and I don't know what the Hornets may look like next season. So that was just a little spill on biggest. What was that? What was that question? Regrets. That was the biggest regret. So now we're going to get into our free agency preview part of this podcast, and I know Elson's been looking forward to this for a few days now. First player, you got the list. I'm going to let you reel it off. So you go ahead and name a player. We'll go back and forth with our predictions and explain why and stuff like that. So go ahead.
All right, so here we go. So free agency has turned into maybe the funnest part of the NBA season, or the most fun part of the NBA season. And there's a lot of rumors and different theories that you'll hear about which player's going where and why and stuff. And it's a lot of fun, and truly none of us have a true idea of where these guys are going, but we're going to give our best guess. So let's start right off the bat with the best free agent available. He just won the NBA title, Kawhi Leonard. So, Keedron, where is Kawhi Leonard going to be playing next year?
I believe that Kawhi Leonard will be playing in Toronto. Why? Simply because why would you leave a situation you just won a championship? First of all, Marc Gasol just opted in, so he's staying. Second of all, Kyle Lowry's not going anywhere. Pascal Siakam's still on his rookie deal. And Fred VanVleet, he's not going anywhere. Dude, your core is still there, so why would you leave? I don't think Serge is going anywhere. So Danny Green has a chance to go somewhere, but do I see him realistically leaving? No. You're in a great situation. Why leave? So I think he'll stay in Toronto simply because they just won a title, and the whole goal is to win championships, right? So why not stay in a situation where you haven't made is my question. I know there's talks about the Lakers or mainly the Clippers or the Lakers or the Knicks. I don't see the Knicks get him for one because the Knicks I don't think they have the capital yet. I don't see the Clippers get him because who are you going to pair with him? Although they have 2 max slots, who are you going to pair with him? Who wants to go to the other LA team? Nobody. I don't care about the Clippers. So the Lakers, they're a mess in their own. Although they got Anthony Davis and LeBron, but that's 2 players. You got to fill the floor with 5. So I just think his best spot is Toronto. So, what do you think he'll be?
All right. Well, so I think Kawhi Leonard is going to the Clippers.
Okay.
And I don't want to reveal who they are, but there are people who I've trusted in the past with these types of rumors, and they said he's going to the Clippers, and so I'm going to go with that. And I would love to be wrong. I would love for him to go to the Raptors, but I think he's going to the Clippers. Next, we have Kevin Durant. I'll start this one. I think Kevin Durant, I know you'll like this, I think he's going to the Knicks.
Yeah.
I think he's going to the Knicks, and I'm not super confident about that, but I don't see him leaving all the money on the table from the Warriors to go to the less popular New York team. I think he likes playing in Madison Square Garden. I think it's, he always plays well when he goes there. I think he likes the idea of being the man in New York, and you can do that with the Knicks, and you can't with the Nets. And so I think he's going to the Knicks. I think he'll mesh well with R.J. Barrett and kind of mentor him. I think that's what's going to happen. And we've heard KD to the Knicks all year, and I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and so that's my prediction there. What do you think?
That's a good choice right there. I really like to hear that, especially being a Knick guy.
I knew you would.
Me and Spike Lee are dancing right now, so. But
don't be mad at me when it doesn't happen.
Hey, I won't. Trust me, because honestly, the truth is, do I believe he'll be a Knick? After seeing the reports yesterday that he opted out, now my mind is starting to be a little clearer. Simply because he was in New York with his agent yesterday. So
right.
I'm going to say, yes, I agree with that. I think he'll be a Knick, but I don't think it'll be the way that people think it is. I saw rumors of it being a sign and trade to where he can get more money if he re-signs with the Warriors and then it gets traded to the Knicks. So I'm not sure at that. So
I think this breaks podcast etiquette, so I apologize, but when we talked about this beforehand earlier today, you say Durant was going to re-sign with the Warriors?
Oh, my goodness. He caught me.
Wait, did my prediction for him to the Knicks sway you to agree as well?
A little bit, yes. I will say that.
Okay, all right. I'll take that then.
Plus that report yesterday. So that's my prediction. Him to the Knicks. So.
All right, I got you. The next free agent is Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
You can start this one.
So Kyrie Irving, Brooklyn, that's easy. I'm not even going to elaborate on that. I mean, I don't see him going to the Knicks. I don't see him going to the Lakers. I don't see him re-signing with Boston. Kyrie Irving will be a Brooklyn Net. So overall, I think that's an easy choice for me simply because of what's been going on with the news cycle and everything that's been going around Kyrie Irving. So that's my prediction for Kyrie. So.
All right. I'm not sure if it recorded it or not, but I said that I think Kyrie Irving is going to the Lakers.
Okay.
I think he's going to the Lakers to rejoin LeBron James, and yeah. The next pick is Kemba Walker. Where do you think? I guess I'll start with this one. Kemba Walker, I think he's going to the Boston Celtics. We just saw Adrian Wojnarowski report that Celtics were interested in him, so I think he'll go to the Celtics.
I agree with that as well. That's an easy one. Like you said, Adrian Wojnarowski just came out with a tweet saying that's the front runner, so that's my projected pick as well.
All right, let's do one more top-tier free agent, and then we'll just really quickly go through the rest. So this is the last one that we'll kind of expand on. Klay Thompson, where do you think he's going?
Klay's going to stay a Warrior. I don't see them giving up their other part of Splash Bro, so I see him staying. That's the easy one. First of all, Klay's been there since the beginning. Klay's been the one that's been loyal to you, so why not pay him for his loyalty?
Totally. I agree. So I've got Klay at the Warriors as well. Let's real quick go through our top 5 guys and say where we think they're going. Again, I think Kawhi Leonard's going to the Clippers, Kevin Durant to the Knicks, Kyrie Irving Lakers, Kemba Walker Celtics, and Klay Thompson the Warriors.
So I say Kawhi Leonard to Toronto, staying in Toronto. Kevin Durant, of course, going to the Knicks. You said Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving will be in Brooklyn. And number 4, Kemba Walker. He's going to be in Boston. The Celtics, and number 5, Klay Thompson. I believe he'll stay in Golden State with the Warriors. So
perfect. Okay, so let's go through these last 10 free agents and just quickly say where we think they're going to go. And I'll start on each one. Jimmy Butler, I think he's going to the Heat.
Oh, wow. That is shocking. I was not expecting that. I've got to have you explain that one. I do. I have to.
There's a reason why I said there wouldn't be explanations. I don't have one. I just think that Pat Riley wants to get a star. He always seems to make a splash, and I could see Jimmy Butler enjoying Miami, and I just that's what I'm going with. What about you?
Okay, I think Jimmy Butler's going to stay in Philadelphia. I don't see him getting traded anywhere, even though there's talks of him going to Houston. So Jimmy Butler in Philadelphia.
Okay, Tobias Harris, I think he will stay in Philadelphia. What about you?
I agree with that, Philadelphia. So the Philadelphia core will stay together, in my opinion.
Okay, Kris Middleton, I have him staying with the Bucks.
Milwaukee, that's pretty easy, Elson. These are easy. Milwaukee, I think he'll stay in Milwaukee. Why would you explode something that got you to the conference finals would be my question. So I think he stays.
Right. Okay, what about Nikola Vucevic from the Magic?
Oh, man.
I think he's going to stay with the Magic.
Ooh, I'm going to have to disagree. I'm going to go with the Clippers. I think he'll go to the Clippers.
Nice. Yeah.
So, because they have two max slots, as I said before, and they've got to fill in one, and they need a big guy. So I say Nikola Vucevic is going there. So
yes, that's a good one. All right, Malcolm Brogdon, I think he's going to the Pacers.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. Even with Victor Oladipo?
Yeah, Oladipo likes to have the ball and create, and Brogdon, he's really smart. He can play off the ball. He's a really good combination with Oladipo, and I think that's what the Pacers front office is thinking as well.
Okay, I got you. So, Brogdon, I want to say they're going to stay with their team, but I know that's not possible, or that's probably not going to happen. If I was to project Brogdon to go somewhere, I would say if Brooklyn loses DeAngelo Russell, they've got to have somebody to play with Kyrie Irving. So I'm going to say Brogdon's going to go to Brooklyn. That's my projection, Brooklyn.
All right. Next is J.J. Reddick, and I think he will go to the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. I see him going to the Lakers. The Lakers need shooters to complement LeBron and AD, so that's my projection.
All right. DeMarcus Cousins, I think he's going to join Kevin Durant and join the Knicks.
Yes.
What about you?
I agree with that. I think Boogie is ring chasing at this point, as he probably should be at this point in his career, especially after tearing his Achilles. So, yes, I do believe he'll join Kevin Durant in New York.
All right, next up is Al Horford. I think Al Horford is going to join Kawhi Leonard on the Clippers, and they're going to build a really similar team to this year's Raptors and make a deep run in the playoffs. So, Al Horford, Clippers. What about you?
Wow, Al Horford to the Clippers. You heard it here first, Reoccurring Thoughts podcast. I think Al Horford will be, putting me on the spot, man. I'm coming off the dome with these. Al Horford, pretty good big man. Of course, I think the Pelicans need a big man. I think he'll be in New Orleans.
All right. Julius Randle, I think that after the Nets miss on Kevin Durant, they're going to need to spend the money somewhere, so I think they'll get Julius Randle, the Nets.
So with this pick, the crazy thing is I think Julius Randle's going to the Knicks. I don't know why.
Wow.
I've just been thinking about that. I think he'll go to the Knicks, and that would be a great pickup for the Knicks.
All right. I think if they miss on Kevin Durant, then you're right. He will go to the Knicks.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the last guy, DeAngelo Russell. I think there's been a lot of rumors about Kyrie Irving, but they developed DeAngelo Russell. I don't see why they would just give up on a young, great player like that who they've developed. So I think DeAngelo Russell is going to stay with the Nets. What about you?
I with Kyrie Irving coming there, I don't know. That's a hard one because they're both going to want the ball. DeAngelo Russell, they've been talking about the Lakers are pursuing him. But if I'm going to be honest, I think he'll go to Charlotte, especially if Kemba leaves. I think he'll be in Charlotte. So that's my opinion. So.
Wow. Okay. Good deal. Well, that was fun. We'll see if we were right on any of these, but it should be a lot of fun. And once again, thanks for having me on, and hopefully we'll do a recap or something like that.
Absolutely.
I basically I just invited myself on again, so great.
Well, we're going to do it again sometime. So, your favorite podcast, of course, has got to end you with the quote of the day. And, of course, it's sponsored by, no one. So, The quote of the day is from Mason Cooley, and it says, "Romance is tempestuous and love is calm." I'll repeat, Mason Cooley, "Romance is tempestuous and love is calm." Romance is very tempestuous. The devil tempts us in many ways, and as long as you can remain calm in those situations and love yourself and be genuine to yourself, you can overcome any tempestuous situations. So this was Reoccurring Thoughts Podcast episode, I believe, number 15. I've lost count, but it was great having you on, Mr. Elson. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It was great having you on. Of course, always, you guys know what to do. Enjoy, watch or listen to the podcast. Obviously, I'm on YouTube. I'm doing all my different stuff. So just look out for the next episode. Thank you for listening in. It's your boy, Kidron Koger. This has been Reoccurring Thoughts Podcast. Peace.